What is going on, guys? It's Dave from Dave Confused, and today we're talking about horror television shows. We're going from the big screen to the small screen. But before we get in the video, I just want to remind everybody that we have merch now. It's at teespring.com. If you go to the store section of the YouTube channel, you'll see that we have Dave Confused merch from the logo that you guys voted on. And I don't want to be like super cocky right now, but I think it could be the coolest shirt of all time. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know every shirt that's ever existed, but I think this is in the running for the coolest shirt of all time. So you should definitely pick that up. Okay, so we're talking horror movie television shows. Now, obviously horror started on the big screen, right? But it did eventually make its way to the small screen, and what amazing materials there. And today I asked my cousin Jessie V, the queen of YouTube, Queen V, to let me in on her favorite television horror shows. And she did not disappoint. Apparently she watches every single horror show that's ever been on the television. Every single one she's watched. You'll see. But the first show I want to talk about is Supernatural. And now if you haven't seen this show, I super recommend it. It's about two brothers that were raised as hunters, essentially not like deer and moose hunters, more like vampires and wendigos and demon hunters. Yeah, that's pretty badass. So the show starts with two brothers getting back together after being separated for a long time in order to find their father. And that takes them on this massive journey across the United States as they hunt down evil, malevolent, demon, bad, monster-like creatures. The crazy part about this show is it kind of shows that monsters can really easily live among us. You know, vampires and shapeshifters and werewolves, like at one point in time, they look like a human. So it brings up the idea that maybe if these things did exist, we may never know. But I digress. This show is action-packed. The storyline is amazing. Some seasons get a little weird, but overall one of the best horror shows ever. I mean, they try to include a little bit of everything in the show. There's zombies, there's vampires, there's demons, there's angels, there's the devil himself, there's everything. There's the women in white. There's ghosts, there's, you know, hillbilly cannibal people. Like, there is everything for everybody in this show. And that can actually be ridiculously hilarious as well. Like, this show's a little bit of everything. And it also, a couple times, has actually freaked me out a little bit. Like, they have some scenes that are just uber creepy. So, this is a great show, Supernatural, and the two main characters are total 10 models, good-looking dudes. That helps. That helps, for sure. And this show is so popular that there's literally a Supernatural convention that goes all over the place, and you can have dinner with the cast. Now, they do touch on a little bit of adult themes, so please keep that in mind if you do go to watch the show, but I definitely suggest it. Supernatural is my #1 pick for horror shows right now. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's see what Jessie has to say about her favorite horror shows.
Hey guys, it's Jessie V, and today I'm going to be telling you about all of my favorite horror TV shows. Now, you guys probably know by now that horror is my favorite genre of anything, really. And when Dave asked me to do this video for him, the very first show I thought of was Haunting of Hill House. This show was basically like an amazing horror movie spread out into a bunch of episodes. I have never seen a horror show that had me so gripped, so into it. And listen, whenever I watch anything horror, I never really feel too afraid because I love it so much, but this show actually had me so scared. And the best thing about the show is that there's little to no jump scares in it. In fact, the whole time this family is in this old haunted house, you see the ghosts appear behind them, but they never make you jump. You have to almost look for them. This whole show is basically an I Spy game for who can find the ghost first, because in almost every scene there's a ghost lurking behind the family. So I would highly recommend recommend this. This show was like a 10 out of 10 for me. The next show that I know you guys know I love is Are You Afraid of the Dark? This show came out in the 90s and it was my entire childhood. It's basically this group of friends sitting around a campfire, and every single episode a different one of them will tell a scary story. And the show just completely reenacts their story, and there's anything from haunted dolls to zombies to creepy robots. It has everything. And I feel like even if I watched this show today, it would probably still creep me out. The next one on my list is kind of an underrated show. I feel like I don't really hear a lot of people talking about this one, and it's Hemlock Grove. This show is just so bizarre, and I feel like it's sort of a horror slash thriller, almost a mystery even. There's werewolves, there's people who drink blood, but I don't think they're really classified as vampires. I don't want to spoil it too much for you guys, but it's one of those shows that leave you feeling so weird, like it's extremely bizarre. Another show that kind of does that for me is American Horror Story. I know that each season is just so weird but so amazing. I think one of my favorite seasons of American Horror Story is definitely Coven. I love anything to do with witches, so that show just had to be on this list. And the last show that I wanted to mention is Bates Motel. I literally binged this entire show as soon as I started watching it. It's about this mother who lives with her son. They own a little motel on the side of the road, and her son has some very eerie urges and has two sides to him. And one side is very dark, and he does some very disturbing things. So if you guys aren't into watching anything disturbing or unnerving, this is not the show for you, because there were times where I literally had to pause it because I was like, oh, did he just do that? And it's hard for me to talk about all these shows without spoiling anything for you guys, but I honestly would recommend all of the ones that I have mentioned today. My favorite one is definitely The Haunting of Hill House. I cannot wait to rewatch that this Halloween. But yeah, make sure to definitely comment which shows you love the best down below, and I cannot wait to hear what Dave's choices are. Alright, thank you guys for listening, and I will see you in another one of Dave's videos. Bye!
See? What did I tell you? She watches every show. Every single show she's watched. I love that she brought up American Horror Story. That was going to be one of my picks today. It's so good and so popular, and actually my favorite season is the Coven season as well. But the really good season as well is the first season, which is called Murder House. And basically all these murders and terrible things happen in this house, and the ghosts of the murdered people stay in the house. So when a new family moves in, all hell breaks loose. Another really good season of American Horror Story. My next and final show is The Walking Dead. So this show is so popular that they literally made another show called Fear the Walking Dead. It's two zombie shows made by the same people. That's how good this show is. They needed another one. Based off of the graphic novel of the same name, The Walking Dead is literally the epitome of zombie survival movies or shows. Imagine being a police officer and waking up in a hospital and it's the zombie apocalypse, and you have nothing but the hospital gown you're wearing. You have no idea what happened to your family, you have no idea what happened to your friends, you have no idea what happened to the world. All you know is you need to survive. That's what The Walking Dead is. It follows a group of survivors when they have to do the unthinkable and survive the zombie apocalypse without any notice whatsoever that this was about to happen. But sometimes it's not the zombies you need to worry about, it could be other survivor groups that want your food and your tools, and they'll kill you to get it. This show is so well written and so well filmed that you fall in love with the characters so quickly. But don't fall in love with all of the characters, because it can be kind of a Game of Thrones situation where you never know when a character is gonna gone. But where this show takes you all over the place and what these people go through, it's just mind-boggling how they continue to go on every day. It's such an amazing show and so well written, and the zombies are probably some of the best you've ever seen. Movie, show, anything. These zombies could be the best. And they keep really good continuity of the show. Like when the show first starts, they have the regular looking zombies, but as it continues in the later season, you start to see the zombies decay more and look more skeletal and rotten. Because let's face it, they're dead. They're still dead. They just walk around and try to eat people. They do go with the slower, dumber type zombie, but when it sees food, it goes rabid. That type of, you know, zombie that's very video game-esque. Different from like the movie Dawn of the Dead, where zombies are very like rabid right off the bat. Like they'll run straight for you and freak out and, you know. But overall, this is one of the best horror shows of all time. Everybody knows. Everybody's heard of The Walking Dead. Those are my picks for the greatest horror movie shows of all time. I want to give a big thank you to Jesse V for coming out and doing this video with me. Well, we're still safe distancing, you know, we're being smart about the situation, but thank you, Jesse V, for participating in the video. If you haven't already, please go check out her channel. Her merch, everything she does is incredible. You probably already know. And remember, there is Confused Army merch for sale. Please go get it. You know you want to. I want you to. Just go. Remember to leave a like and comment and a ghost story in the comments, and your comment could end up in our next video. Well, I'm Dave, still confused. Thank you so much, and at least our dogs are werewolves. Peace.